All right, welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Wow, Look at Me Now. Today we're here with Steve Patterson. We're just gonna get to know him and figure out what's going on with him. How's it going today, Steve?
Good, good. You just kicked my ass in that workout. So.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. So we'll just start out kind of a little bit of interview, and then we'll kind of just branch off into some stuff, I'm sure. So let's just first, for the audience, figure out where you were born and where you grew up.
Well, I was born out in western Minnesota, out in Windham, Minnesota. That's what it's called. When I was 5, I moved to Lake City, and that's went to high school there. So, kind of fast forward through all that.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Lake City is where I'm from, and lived kind of everywhere in Minnesota, up north in the cities. But just kind of landed in Rochester, just close enough to family, and just makes sense for what I'm trying to do. So.
Exactly. No, that's kind of how I ended up here as well, and I think Jay the same thing.
Yeah.
So we kind of know each other. We'll kind of jump into that because we went to high school together. I grew up in Lake City as well, so that's how we kind of know. And then, for a few years, we kind of just after high school, we kind of like went our own ways, and now we kind of branched back in together, and we're kind of doing the same kind of stuff. We're trying to start our own businesses, and we kind of seem that we're just meant to hang out and kind of hang out and work together. So it's kind of awesome to see it kind of come full circle again from high school to back to here. So we always kind of get into the podcast about, and I know you're on the football team, you're with the Freeze right now, we'll get into that, but we always kind of ask everybody what their first memory of like martial arts is or sports. Like, what do you remember that hooked you into that?
I have to dig kind of deep for that one.
Yeah, that's a deep question.
I primarily wrestled in high school, and I'm trying to think back. And you did like the little kid tournaments, right? Like wrestling before you had kneecaps, like.
Yeah.
And
so you were exposed to it pretty young then went on around like 3, 4, 5 years old or something like that.
Yeah, I was like in the kindergarten and I got away from it in like the 3rd grade, and then just totally random. Like I just decided like at the midnight hour to go out for wrestling like 5 minutes before the first practice started in 7th grade, and never really looked back. But probably the earliest memory of it, I remember, when I was just a little guy, and everybody gets, the same kind of off brown colored medal at the end of it. Everybody's a champion, but
yeah, I do remember.
But I remember, and if you've ever been to a little kid tournament, you can see it. Anytime the kid wins, just super jacked. Anytime that they lose, just absolute tears. Just the worst day of your life,
Yeah, we deal with that a lot as we teach kids, so we know that. We go to the little kids tournaments all the time.
There's a lot of times I'm crying as they're walking off of the mats. It's like, no.
Yeah, we get really into it. So, luckily, though, we haven't had any parents fights or anything like that. We've seen some crazy videos and things like that. But
Jiu-Jitsu parents are a little bit better than wrestling parents.
Yeah, wrestling parents are a little wild. They're intense, man. So it seems for you that like kind of like sports was just kind of bred into you, and from your early age was just kind of thrown at you. So it's kind of something you've always done or been interested in.
I've always been passionate about it. I wouldn't say I've always been good at it.
Yeah. I know how that goes.
but I've always been passionate about it, and I'm a competitive person. So.
Yeah, you wrestled in college, right? Did you play football in college as well?
No.
Just wrestling.
No, I played football in like 7th grade, and then I was like, this is dumb.
Right. Okay.
And I saw so many like just outstanding wrestlers get hurt in football season, and I thought, well, I don't want that to be me. And then ironically, I tore my ACL senior year.
Wrestling.
So, wrestling, yeah.
Okay.
But that was the injury I was trying to avoid, so I didn't play football until after college, and I got good at wrestling in college. I mean, I was okay senior year before. I was like 12-10 before I tore my ACL, so I was doing all right. I was holding my own.
Right, definitely, and that's a big thing too. Heavyweight, wrestling out there, and it's one of those things too that I notice, and I see a lot of football coaches talk about it. Is that the wrestlers make the best football players. If you're a really good wrestler in high school, you're definitely going to be a good lineman, and you can hold your own out there with some of those guys. And I know that I don't remember exactly who it was. I think it was maybe Dan Gable or somebody said that if you want to have a good lineman, recruit a wrestler. It's because he's going to be able to explode. He knows how to, where his hips are supposed to be and all that. And so I think that transitions really well into football, and it seems like a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah, it's just you understand how to maintain a focus, and with wrestling or martial arts, like a lot of times you got to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, or you'll have to fight through pain to, get a reversal or not get pinned or something like that. So you're like, okay, like let's stand up and be linemen, where the average football play is like 6.5 seconds or something.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
like,
that's not a lot of.
I can struggle through this.
like it doesn't matter what's going on in this 6 seconds. Like I've been through worse on a wrestling mat.
And there's times in a wrestling mat where it's a half, a minute and a half in, and you got, oh shit, I got still a minute and a half left, and this guy's on top of me. I'm dead tired already. Like, yeah, you don't get that in football, And maybe you will in a couple plays, but then you get your break, and everybody like switches in and stuff. But yeah, it seems like the wrestlers with their hips and the explosiveness, they're definitely good for football. So, what got you back into football then? After college?
Yeah, my buddy Mike, he was playing for the Albert League Grizzlies, which is actually one of the teams that we play against in our league, and I was 22, and I was out of wrestling eligibility in college. I wrestled 4 years at Winona, and so I got to the point where it's like, well, I got to do something,
right.
Like I gotta scratch that itch, and so Mike said, well, come play football, like we'll put you at tight end. I'm like, all right, whatever. And after a few practices, they're like, yeah, dude, like you're just too mean to play tight end. Like we're just gonna put you at D-line, and like you can just figure it out. And it's a pretty simple position as
Yeah.
versus like playing quarterback or middle linebacker or something. You just kind of go in the middle and rage, and I've always just kind of liked that.
Right.
So
your goal is to try to break through as best as possible and
right.
tackle the guy with the ball. Yeah, that's awesome. And something that I was never really good at is football. So I know I played a couple of years in 7th and 8th grade, but I was just too small. I wasn't good at it. I wish I would have wrestled more in high school.
Yeah, for real.
So you you actually are playing on the Freeze this year.
Yep.
And you took last year off, but you played the year before, right?
I played, let's see here, I played a year in Albert Lee, and then I played a year for a team called the Hogs, which we actually played last week, and we won that game.
Right on. Congrats.
But then I played 2 years with the Freeze, and last year I took off. It just, I kind of lost the passion for it. It wasn't fun anymore, and I think a lot of guys kind of had that attitude, and it wasn't direct correlation because I wasn't there, but the team did not do very well last year.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's something that I kind of helped create, and me and like 8 other guys came over from the Hogs and created this team, and it was frustrating for me, because you'd like to be able to say, okay, well, like I left, but like they're okay,
Right.
And so, I said, okay, well, like I'm gonna get back in, like however I can help, whether it's sponsoring, supporting, marketing, a little bit of playing.
Something that you did that's really close to you and that I know means a lot to you is you actually have a scholarship you go out every year.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of goes back to high school. And can you just kind of explain us what that is and where that kind of came from and what you do with it every year?
Yep. So when I was going to school in Lake City, I got a scholarship from Doug Grissom, and that was the Lake City Bus Line Scholarship is what they called it. And I was so pumped for that. That I said, like I want to be able to do that, like when I'm financially able to,
right.
And kind of give back in that way. And so, I went back and forth with it for a few years, and this will be, let's see here, this will be the 4th year, and I give it in June is when I give it, but it's for my friend Dustin, who passed away. He's a college roommate of mine, best friend. And at the time, one of my other friends, Eric was his name, he said, like I know that you've talked about doing something like this, like let's give a scholarship and we'll call it, the Dustin Cat like Biggest Heart Award. and he was a guy that, he really kind of attracted misfits. But everybody liked the kid, nicest kid ever, and he'd hug a stranger, and he ended up hitting a patch of ice and hitting a semi in that order, and it didn't go well, as you could imagine, and so that's something that I've wanted to be able to do, and it's something that I'm passionate about, is giving back and helping people out that could just use some encouragement, and like what a huge thing, and it's not a lot of money. I mean, it's $500 is what I give, and it's not like a ton of money, but for me to give that money to a stranger, and they think, wow, like they think that I'm worth this, and
Right, that means a lot to somebody who doesn't have a lot.
right, and then they hear Dustin's story, and part of that scholarship is they got to write just a short essay just explaining how the loss of someone affected them for the better. So it's kind of a positive spin on something really negative, and I wish I could give all these kids the award, because you hear these kids, and it breaks your heart for every one of them, but it forces them to find something positive about it, and even if it's, even if you don't get the money, like, hey, like I'm forcing myself to sit down, for an hour or 10 hours or whatever it takes, and really say, you know what, because of this awful thing, this is how I was able to grow.
Right. And that's definitely something that I can touch on with, especially losing my dad at a young age, and knowing how that changed me. And if you kind of heard my story, you know that, and growing up, and everybody's hopefully heard my story, but the audio on that was a little rough. We've always talked about that, but that's definitely something that I know can be a motivating factor, or something that can really tear you down as a person. And it's good to have somebody like you out there just helping people, knowing that, like, here's this little bit of encouragement. Because for me, I didn't really know that was out there at the time, and when I found Team Crazy and then found all the guys there, it was like that scholarship for me. It was like, oh, these guys believe in me, and then they think I can do better, so then I believed in myself, and I did better for myself, and I wanted that. And so I think this scholarship does the same thing for people as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal of it, just to to try to find some positivity, and especially for people, in a situation like that need it,
Right, definitely.
So
So getting back to the freeze, so this is something that you sponsor now, and your scholarship is something you give out every June.
mhm.
And how do you, I guess we can just skip on that for a second. How do people apply for that? How do you get that out? And is there certain kids that you kind of look for, or is there certain areas that you give it out in?
Well, it's specific to Winona State.
Okay, Winona State.
Yeah, because that's where Dustin and I both attended.
Yep.
But yeah, there's if you just look it up, if you just put it up on the Google machine, it's pretty easy to find.
And what's the name of the sponsorship? Or the scholarship?
The scholarship is the Dustin Catholic Biggest Heart Award.
Dustin Catholic. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
And so we can, if you're right on the state, right here in Minnesota, you can definitely jump on board and send some your essays in, and Steve will definitely read that stuff for you. So that's a big help too, especially for struggling college kids.
Oh yeah.
It's hard, and I've heard a lot of rough stories, and from eating top ramen for months and years at a time. So I know that's a big help for people.
I mean, it's not like sometimes you can get like SpaghettiOs or something. It's not always that bad. Like.
No, all right. Spaghettios. I haven't had spaghettios in forever. So that's an awesome thing you do again, and that's something we'll put out too as well. And if you have any kind of links or anything to that, I'll just share that out as well.
Yeah, I got a link for it somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll find it. And then, so the freeze, you're actually sponsoring that, and you're playing this year.
Mm-hmm.
You're also doing a little bit of the marketing for that. Right? And so we kind of been hanging out the last few weeks, and about maybe a month or so now, or 6 weeks, something like that. We've been doing it.
Yeah, a month and a half. Yeah.
And we've been just doing some personal training, getting you back in shape, and kind of getting you ready for that. And, so how's that been going for you? How's kind of getting back in shape and getting ready for that football mentality going for you?
Yeah, I mean it's been huge for me. With the loss of Dustin, and and I've had some other significant loss. Between now and then, and I'd really lost my competitive edge, and you and I talked about that a little bit. Where like you're there, but you're just kind of going through the motions. You're not really engaged. My first year with the Freeze, I was actually on the All-Star team. But when you just kind of go through the motions, you're not really passionate about it. You're not preparing your body for it. I mean, I basically fell down the depth chart, and I deserve to. And now I got to try to work my way back up. Um, but being back in combat sports, we'll call it. Um, it's a huge feeling for me, and like we said, like when I walked in today, I'm like, oh, I smell it,
Right, yeah.
like
That wrestling mat.
if you've ever been in a wrestling room or a martial arts training center like this, like you just smell it, and it's like kick-ass fumes, where you just
Right, yeah,
you're
yeah.
automatically engaged, and being back in it, I mean, it's where you find that exhaustion, but it's like controlled exhaustion, where you can breathe through it and you still know what you're doing and you can still push hard. And 2 months ago I wasn't there.
Right.
Where it's just like, hey, jog or do push-ups or punch the bag or whatever. Like, yeah, I can do that, but I wasn't focused. And so being able to work with you is really kind of, I can't say it's a new me, but it's the old me, and it's refreshing in a way because I feel like I can do all the things that I used to be able to do, and obviously, I'm a little bit older and a little bit fatter, but
But we lit that fire under your ass, right?
and
You're in here busting your ass, and every time you come in, you work super hard, and we always try to throw a different kind of workout at you and mix some stuff in, and I like to throw a little bit of martial arts and MMA stuff in as well.
Mhm.
And again, I feel like a lot of that stuff kind of transfers over, just the explosion and being able to know how to use your body correctly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Functionally is a big thing.
knowing
big
what
thing
your
is-
body's capable of.
Exactly,
You
yeah.
know?
And again, this kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier, is how wrestlers do so good in football is because we're getting you comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And
Exactly.
anytime you're dead tired or anything like that, you're still pushing, you're still like, all right, it's only 30 seconds, I'm gonna get this. Or 8 seconds over, a play lasts, you're like, I can push for as hard as I have for that
Mhm.
10 seconds, 8 seconds, however long it is, that I have to hold this guy. And so that's definitely something that the transitions, and I definitely see it in you the last, 4 weeks or 3 weeks that you kind of, that day you told me, like, I feel it. And since then, I can see it every single workout. Like today,
Yeah.
I was worried. I was like, this might be a little too hard. Like, you just came in and killed it, and you're like, maybe we should do a little longer. It's like, all right, next time we're going to fucking push your ass then. Because at first I was like, I don't want to kill him. I don't want to, because
Yeah.
people that come in and you push them a little too hard, and they just, I don't want that.
It's not for me.
So you got to kind of ease people in. And now that you're back in it, I can see it like, okay, now he's kind of challenging me. So now we got to work your ass and put you back into shape.
Yeah,
So.
maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud.
That's good though, man. You'll be on the line before you know it and killing people.
Yeah.
So Freeze this year, what is their record so far, and how many games have they had?
Just the
Just
one.
the one game.
Just
so
the
it's
one,
just
yeah.
started.
Yep.
How many home games do they have here in Rochester this year? Do you know?
I think it's 4 home games and 4 away games.
4 and 4. Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
there's like 12 or 13 teams in the league, and they're from Minnesota, Iowa, and like the Dakotas.
Okay.
So it's kind of a Midwest league, and it's something that, it's 9-man football, which is a little bit faster. Basically you just take, on offense you just take the tackles away. You got three linemen, and then defense people mix it up a little bit, but it's just kind of a faster game, and I like it that way.
And so this is semi-pro football then?
Semi-pro, amateur, depending on who you ask.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not paid or anything like that.
Right.
We actually pay to play.
Yep.
Which is part of the reason why I wanted to get into the sponsorship, and
Yep.
and I helped raise some money for the team. We had like a fundraiser, and our goal was like $5,000, and I raised like $500-600, and then I did the normal sponsorship package. Like, I'm not trying to fluff myself here, but yeah, did that, and everybody pays to play, and so just being involved, I have a pretty decent network of people, and people get excited when I do it, because they see me, like bouncing or whatever, and they're like, oh, like I've seen this dude like chuck humans, like let's go check it out, and so just being there and helping out, in any way I can, I came back expecting the team to win a championship, and in our first year we were undefeated through the regular season, then lost in the first round of playoffs. You gotta be kidding me. And the second season was very similar to that. It's like, well, we lost one regular season game, won a playoff game, then lost second round of the playoffs. So A lot of us guys feel like we have unfinished business. A lot of retired guys came back, you know, because like you said, you know, when you see something that you built up fail, it kind of irritates you, you know, and you know, not to take anything away from the dudes last year, you know, and we got a lot of the same guys back, but we have a really good core of guys right now, you know, and the backups understands that they're backups, you know, like you know, we're not really fighting over playing time, you know, we all just have one goal, and that's just to win, and like the first game, we had like 4 turnovers and a kickoff return for a touchdown against us, and we still found a way to win.
Wow.
You know.
Okay.
So it's like if we can play that bad and still win.
It's one of those things where it sounds like you guys are kind of still trying to put the pieces together and figure out what the holes are, and you're still a young team, you know. And I'm sure some of these teams, like you said, the Hogs, that was the team you played for before.
Yep.
So they've been already, you know, in the
yeah,
game
and they've won like 3 national championships, you know. So it's not a scrub team by any means, but.
So where do you guys play in Rochester then? What is the field you guys play in?
Yeah, we play at Mayo High School.
Mayo High School. Sure.
We have played at RCTC before, but I think we got outbid or something like that.
Okay, so it's Mayo High School this year then? Or this
Yeah.
season?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we were talking about how you sponsor the team as well. So let's kind of get into your business and what that is, and just kind of tell us a little bit of rundown about that and how you and your partner are kind of starting that up.
Yeah. So. Well, the business is called Stein, and it's a brewery, and actually, I'm hoping by next Thursday we know if the city's going to give us a green light on a building that we're trying to move into, and then, you know, about 6 months after that we should be live, you know, so as long as everybody plays nice,
Right.
We should, you know, be up and running, and it wasn't my idea by any means. I had 2 friends approach me about two years ago now, and say, hey, like, you know, we're brewing beer, we want to commercialize it. Oh, okay, cool. You know, because I'm good with the marketing, and I came up with the name and stuff, you know. So, but it's been an opportunity, you know, where I've never been good with authority and people like telling me what to do.
Right. I definitely understand that.
And if someone asks me to do something, I'll literally do anything. But if you tell me to do something, I'll be like, man, like, I don't know, like. So, I've wanted to be my own boss for a while now, and this just kind of seemed like a golden opportunity, and it's been nothing short of an obsession, you know, since it started. You know, I'm working 66 hours a week plus whatever I'm doing for the business every week, you know. Every Thursday I put in an 18-hour shift, you know, doing anything I can because everything is expensive, you know. Right. I mean, you know, and if you ask anybody, well, what does it cost to start a brewery? $1 million. Well, I don't have $1 million, you know, and so, you know, we're kind of piecing things together, you know, cost effectively as we can, and you know, it's going to be maybe 1/10 of that is what right. You know, is what we're going to have put into it, but just the opportunity to open our own place and, you know, give people a reason to come to Rochester. You know, there's already, you know, I think we'll be the 7th brewery in town by the time that we open, and you know, and I give a ton of credit to the people that have already, you know, created this culture, but, you know, we're just trying to give people one more reason to come to Rochester and spend money, you know, because everybody wins, and if you've never been to a brewery, you know, it's not so much about like going out and getting drunk, you know, it's like, hey, like, I want to try this beer, you know, and the beer that we have isn't going to be overly strong as far as alcohol content or flavors, you know, so it's going to be local beer, but, you know, it's not all going to, you know, be super hoppy, you know, or you know, super dark, because we want to transition non-craft beer drinkers into craft beer drinkers.
Okay, so that's your goal then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And people that appreciate craft beer tell us our beer is good, you know, but people that drink Budweiser tell us our beer is good. Yeah. You know, so like that's kind of the middle ground that we're trying to achieve. And, you know, and myself and Brian and, you know, a lot of other young hustlers in Rochester, you know, I put you in this group, right. You know, yeah. I mean, and Jay and, you know, when you think, you know, Nick and bringing Gary V to town.
Yeah, that was huge for everything.
You know, and I think of like the Tilsons with like the Volunteer Connect Night, and and the Connecting Over Coffee, and the Junior Chamber of Commerce, and all this stuff. We're just trying to make Rochester a better place.
Right.
And people give the clinic a ton of credit, and to me it's like, like the clinic does a lot and they bring a lot of people in, but like if Rochester's a potluck, like Mayo's bringing the chips.
Right. Yeah.
Like
yeah, there's a lot of culture and essence to this town that like gets overshadowed by that for sure.
Right, and like I mean they're good chips, like they're not like our family brand chips or whatever, but and there's a lot of them, but it's like like you're not really bringing content, they're not bringing events to town,
Right.
and people say there's nothing to do here. You hear that all the time, and it's like
there is. But you
I mean,
start looking at spots, yeah. You
yeah.
gotta kind of be, and unfortunately, and like you said, we're trying to kind of build this out together, but it's one of those things where it seems like it's such a tight group right now. We're trying to like bring people in to see the eyes.
Right,
like,
and
like you said, like the prof concert, the drinking links, all those stuff. All that stuff is huge for this. The social butterfly guys, they're doing all their big things. We meet up, and that's awesome, and it's only gonna get more eyes on us, kind of. More people that are, because obviously a lot of people that are higher ups are going to come to Mayo and get clinics and get their stuff done, and whether their kids are going there or whatever. But hopefully then they can start seeing what the culture of this town is as well, instead of just a medical town.
Yeah, and I really don't care what your hustle is, like as long as it's not illegal. Like
Right.
like I'll share it, I'll support it, like I'll show up, like, cause I love it when people just get out of their comfort zone.
Right, definitely.
And and I know like when you first started this, you were like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but now this is like, this is what, like episode like 30, 40?
What are we on, 20?
That's 20, yeah.
I mean, it just seems like, like every, like I always see, the next episode, I'm like, this guy's out here doing it. Like,
we're trying to put it in.
And, so it's just, it's cool to see, people trying different things, and, people are like, oh, like I'm gonna, cook cupcakes out of my basement. Cool. Like now I'm a cupcake enthusiast, like whatever.
That's what I tell everybody. Like, if you want to make quilts, make quilts. If you want to sell ferrets, if you want to rescue and sell ferrets, rescue and sell ferrets. Like do that. Like just figure out your market and figure out how to do it. And we're gonna support you. There's a lot of people that have your back.
Absolutely. Like buy somebody's T-shirt.
Right. And that's a huge thing too. And it seems like such a small thing, but to that person who started their own company and made that design and did that to themselves, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm kind of in the process of right now. I was trying to figure out T-shirts and all that stuff, and so I can't imagine walking around town and see people in my fucking shirts like the stationary astronauts, like Princeton. Like it's gonna be out there, and it's like, wow, that's mine, and we all did that together. As a big group, and we're kind of, I'm early in this still. I'm kind of jumping on board with you guys, but I definitely try to support and shout out as much stuff as I can for you guys. That's why I definitely want to bring you on and talk about all the great things that you do, and not just talk about your company and what you do, but about you as a person. Because a lot of times I just see the face and the guy that's there doing the business work, and they just see the hustle that they do, but they don't really see who the guy is as a person,
Right.
And I feel like it's good to get that personable aspect of you out as well.
Right, and it helps when you understand people's motivation,
right?
Behind something, and and I don't think I'm money motivated, but you need money to do things and to live, and the taxes, and
right. Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, like I think of people, our age, and it's like, like if you want to drive a nice car and you want to own a house, you're working 2 jobs.
Yep, you have to.
And it's sad, but like that's how it is, It's like you can pick one or the other. Like you want to drive a nice car and live in an apartment, cool,
right. Yeah, it's rough, man.
But like if you want nice things, if you want to be able to do stuff, like you're working 2 jobs.
You gotta hustle.
And I think that's part of the reason why people are just so stressed out all the time.
Yeah, it is. It's rough, and it's one of those things that you said. It kind of comes back to, we're stressed out because every day we're getting told what to do. We're never allowed to just do what we want on our own and kind of free think, because we got to go to a job and work for somebody to make somebody else money, instead of we're making a penny as to where they're making $1.
Yeah, and
it's rough.
And unless you get out of that comfort zone and try something, I mean, like it's cool if you fail. Like that's why bankruptcy is a thing,
Yeah, my biggest thing is the reason why it took me so long to start all this, and you said it too, is I was kind of worried, and I thought it was awkward at first to put myself out there, and like, what if I put myself out there but it fails, and nobody like looks at it, or was like, that's kind of dumb, why the hell did you do that?
Yeah.
And that's always the fear I think everybody has in the back of their head, but you'll never know if you don't get off your ass and try.
Right, and like at the end of the day, like what are you out if it fails?
Exactly. Maybe a couple $100 that you probably would have spent on what booze or money, food, whatever, driving to some place that you
Fortnite outfits or
yeah,
something.
Fortnite, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You gotta call me out on that.
You know, like,
I'm like 3 months sober then.
Fortnite's over, yeah.
It's over, man.
Yeah.
I beat for a while, bro. Unemployment, man, and just it's rough out here, man.
You know, and that's why people, you know, they say anxiety, you know, is such a thing, and Nick and I, we did that. Well, again, I made up a ridiculous name for it, but I wanted it, you know, it was the Wilford Brimley Diabetes Beat the Blues Suicide Prevention Awareness Non-Celebrity Weight Loss for the Cure Challenge.
Jesus
I know, right?
Spit that out a couple times.
Yeah, I've rehearsed.
I can tell.
And we did that, you know, raising money and awareness for suicide prevention, you know, and you know, you see it's such a prevalent thing now, you know. I mean, it seems like I can't go like you know 6 weeks, 2 months without hearing, you know, something like that. But people also use anxiety as like, you know, like, hey, like I'm anxious, I can't do stuff, and it's like I think that people are just discouraged because no matter what, unless you create your own hustle, you're gonna work till you die.
Yeah, definitely.
And people are living longer, so like, you know,
Yeah, that's the bad part. Is we're just living longer.
now everybody's living to be 90, and it's like what can I do when I'm 90 to pay my rent? You know, like
yeah, that's so crazy to think
you
about
know,
like that.
I mean, so it's just, you know, people are discouraged. You know, I mean, it used to
Definitely.
be, you know, people work 40-hour-a-week job and, you know, and buy themselves, you know, a car, buy, you know, their husband or wife a car, you know, take the kids to Disneyland, and you still have, you know, enough money for a 12-pack, you know.
Right.
Like I'm still just trying to find the money for the 12-pack.
Definitely, yeah. The struggle's real, that's for sure. And it's one of those things where we're just trying to, you know, build yourself better every day. And if you're not, you know, and you're using those excuses of anxiety or whatever it is to not build yourself, then you're only holding yourself back. At least that's how I feel. And I know that there is, you know, people have like panic attacks, stuff like that. And I always try to encourage those people, like, figure out what's making that happen. You know, whether it's therapy or something, like go figure out what the hell it is that's doing that, get past that, and then move on and be yourself, because you only get one life, and if you're not going to live it to the fullest, you're going to live it scared the whole time. Like when you're 90 and you're trying to pay your rent, you're going to be so fucking regretful of all the shit that you wish you would have tried.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're seeing people out there like trying shit that you were going to try, like, oh, I could have done that so much better. It's like, could you have? Why didn't you then? You know,
Right.
It's one of those things where you're just holding yourself back.
And you know, and I'm a huge advocate for therapy or getting help, you know, as needed. You know, and I don't feel like I've used it, you know, as a crutch by any means, but I definitely wasted about 2 years, you know, just, you know, trying to be okay. After Dustin died, my girlfriend got hit by a drunk driver and died, and that's coming up on 3 years now. It'd be the end of the month, and I was a mess, man. And I was like, anytime I started the car, I would panic, you know, because it's like, you know, it wouldn't happen to me, but it happens, you know, and like, I did my grocery shopping at Quick Trip because I couldn't stand to like be out in public around people I didn't know, you know, and so like that's what anxiety looks like, you know,
Right.
and I got it fixed, you know, and you know, it's not necessarily a solvable problem where you can just be like, hey, I'm better.
Right.
You know, but if you're under, you know, if you got it under control, I mean, you can do anything, and being out of your comfort zone and forcing yourself to do that is something that really helps with that anyway, you know. But because people always think, what if?
Right.
You know, it's like nothing's probably gonna happen, but like if the thought is so prevalent in your own head that, hey, like something could happen, something is going to happen, like people just shut down. It's a defense mechanism, you know. But I've also seen people that like were just lazy and say, you know, like, oh, well, I have this medical condition where I can only work when I feel like it, you know.
Right, yeah. And I always think of it, I seen this the other day too, it's like, oh, I'm just too tired to do that. It's like, you're not tired, you're just uninspired, you just don't have any motivation, you're unmotivated. Like, you gotta just figure out what the hell you want to do, And if it's sitting on the couch eating chips for your whole life, then that sucks for you. Like, it's gonna be a boring life.
You know, and
But if
that's
you want to get out
simple.
and start a
And
business, then do that. Step up and figure out what the steps it is to take that. And, in a lot of my podcasts, I always say that is just get out and do it. Like, you're never gonna regret the things that you tried. You're always gonna regret the things you didn't try.
yeah, like what I said earlier. Like, what are you out? 6 months and $500?
Right.
Big deal, dude. Like that's a trip to Florida. You know, like who gives a shit?
Yep, and it's a learning experience, and as long as you don't let that like define you as, oh, I'm just gonna fail. Just be like, oh,
Yeah.
this didn't work because I didn't do this right, or I need to do this a little different.
Yeah.
And learn from it and move on, and that's the only way you're gonna get better. And I think every business, any person that's been successful has had that.
Yeah, I mean, and if you've watched me closely since I was 18, I've had some side hustles, and let me tell you, like they don't all pan out.
No.
You know, and the verdict's still out on the brewery. You know.
Right.
But if it fails, I'll figure something else out. You know, and this one would hurt because I've got tens of thousands of dollars
Right,
and
yeah.
years into it. You know, but I have no reason not to be optimistic about it because people tell me that, you know, they like my beer, and, you know, so as long as everything works out, it works out.
Yeah, and if you have people interested in it, you already have a following, and you're already having like samples out and stuff like that. So you've had like sample parties or stuff like that where people kind of come in and they test your stuff and kind of give you feedback on what you want to do before you actually open up. So you're not just making beer and then just open a brewery. You're actually doing the steps that's needed to actually make sure that everything's quality product.
Yeah, and it's a frustrating process, just because it's alcohol, and I understand, you know, the laws behind it, and I don't disagree with them. You know, like Gary Vee said, like, if you don't like the rules, like, whatever, like, you're not gonna change the rules,
Right.
but, like, you can still, you know, hustle, and so, you know, we can't sell the product, and it's frustrating because I've had people, you know, say, oh, like, dude, like, let me buy a case. You can't. It's illegal.
Right.
You know, and it's not like, you know, I'm not willing to risk it over $20.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because
But
when
you
I
can
get,
still give a sample. Here, just have a sample.
yeah, so you kind of gotta. It's tough because you try to get to around people that you don't know.
Yep.
You know, and because, you know, you give somebody a free beer, they'll like you forever, and I got a ton of free beer. You know, but you got to be careful about it, you know, because you got to make sure it's like 21 plus events, you know, and because you give an 18-year-old a beer, that's it for you.
Yep, that's
you
all
know?
over. Definitely. So do you go to, I know they have like some kind of like brewery testings where they have like, I think they actually had one here in Rochester not too long ago where a lot of like local breweries come and then they actually let you sample those. Have you been to those or do you not do that yet?
I go to them,
You go to them,
but
you
I
haven't
can't.
bought your product yet.
Yeah, because you gotta have a catering license for
Okay,
it,
okay.
you know. So like where I've found success in giving out samples, like I sponsored like a JT and the Gunslingers concert, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it was a 21 plus event. Bring your own beer. Cool. I'm bringing a bunch.
Right on, yeah.
You know, and we took buses up there, and it's like, hey, party bus. You know, like there's no reason why I can't hand someone that's over 21 a beer on a party bus.
Right, definitely.
You know,
yeah.
and so I unloaded like 5 cases of beer, like in like an hour trip up there. You know,
That's what's up. It's awesome. And then every single person was like, wow, what is that beer? All right, that was
yeah,
good.
you know, and so you create buzz, but it's all legal. You know, I'm not making money off of it.
Yep.
You know, I mean, every time we brew beer, we spend $100 on it.
Yeah.
You know, and we brew a lot of beer. You know, so you know, just.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the equipment and stuff, and if you, we'll tell them where everybody to find you here in a little bit, but yeah, I've seen all the stuff you've been doing, and I always see Brian take a picture of him just like sitting next to the next like batch.
Yeah.
This is it, here it is. You know, so it's awesome to see that you guys are so
Well,
interested in investing.
He's better looking, so I take the pictures. You know.
Okay. I got you. That's the marketing in you, right?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Know your strengths. I'm better off behind the camera.
Right. So with that, what is your ultimate goal with the brewing company, and what is your main focus with that?
Yeah. Well, our long term goal, we don't have a specific number, but we want to open up several breweries. You know. So you know, 5,
So you
10,
want it to
15.
be a chain of breweries, not just one.
Yeah, but you know, not like so McDonald's or
Yep,
Applebee's
yep,
or
yep,
something, you know,
definitely,
where
yeah.
like, you know, like it'd be really cool to have one out in Colorado. But like the identity out in Colorado will be different, you know, the beer styles will be different. You
Yeah.
know? It'd be cool to have one like in Milwaukee, you know. But I don't want to have anyone, you know, within 5 hours of another one.
Right, definitely. Yep. You kind of want to put
You know,
one on each coast, a couple in the middle.
And the best example I can think of it is like a Rock Bottom brewery.
Okay. Yep.
I think they have one up in the Twin Cities, but like I've been to one in Nashville, and like they got one in Florida, and it's like, hey, like it's cool, it's everywhere, and I think that would, like, dream scenario, like I'm just like one of the bosses and be like, all right, well, I'm going to Colorado for the week.
Right.
How's everything here? Cool. I'm gonna go over to Florida.
Definitely, yeah.
Go check out the Florida brewery, and maybe a bad example because I don't think I'd want to,
Right.
But
So,
I don't know. You see the headlines, and you're like, I don't know, man. Like,
I've never seen a good headline. Florida man does this. Florida man saves something. Never seen that. Florida man gets attacked by something or eats somebody. Yeah. So that is your main goal then. And so what is your short-term goals right now? Obviously, it's probably going to be to get open and kind of figure out that right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing. We've really we've had to downsize. From our initial plans. Like we're like, yeah, like we're gonna have like a 15-barrel system and like a kitchen and a chef and like. Woo, and and it's like, all right, like let's be realistic. Like we're gonna do like a way smaller system. We're gonna do a tap room. We're gonna have like 12 handles, like 40 seats, and people will like it. People appreciate it, and banks aren't cooperating. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, sure.
Me and Brian both have excellent credit. But they're like, well, you guys are young. You guys don't have. They're like, oh, like put down $100,000.
Wow. Okay.
From where, dude?
Yeah. All right.
Like people that are like 50 might have that kind of money, but I've been behind the 8 ball since I was 16, dude.
Right.
Like, come on, and so they're making it harder, and that's kind of the thing is, like, if you want to be like in the cool guy club where like you're doing your own thing, like somebody has to like invite you into the club,
Right.
And like we found investors, which is great. But they're like, we don't want investor money. We want your money, and it's like that's like literally impossible for me. Like I can't,
Does not even work.
Like you're like put your house up. Yeah, I'll put my house up. Whatever. Find X amount of money. Like it's like 250,000. Cool. Yeah, whatever. We'll find 250. Okay, find your own 100,000. What?
Now on top of all this, I have to do that.
It's like, okay, well, like my house is already collateral. Like what? And so that's really been the frustration. Basically, we're just downscaling, and then we'll use our own success to build our success.
Right.
Because, somebody's got to invite you into the club, and like
Definitely.
we're like, I don't know, like nobody wants us in the club, so we're just gonna kick the door down. We'll figure it out.
Right. Yeah, we'll figure it. Yeah, you'll get it. And so one of the things too is you just gotta keep grinding.
Yeah.
And there's always gonna be holes or setbacks that you can't let define you. You just gotta make sure that next time you figure out what that hole is or what you can get around that or
Yeah.
the best way to maybe have somebody help you. And it sucks too because it seems like every time you're doing something they're like, oh, but what about this one?
Right.
Like, yeah, but I already did all of this, and now you're gonna have another stipulation. It's like every hoop you jump to, there's another hoop just waiting for you.
Yeah, I feel like I wasted 6 months trying to please somebody I never could have pleased.
Right.
And it's not just one bank; they're all assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can't tell me that like that we're a liability. Like I know what you guys are up against, like and I know how. I mean, we were like basically it was at the point where like if you can like have like $100,000 at risk, we could do this whole thing. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Like,
Right.
okay, whatever. Like, and it's frustrating. But the cool thing about this industry, the brewing industry, is that every other brewery wants you to win.
Yeah, because they want that community.
And I've never seen anything like it because there's zero competition. And you ask anybody, no, zero competition. Like, what do you think about that brewery? I think it's the best brewery. What about the other one? That's also the best brewery,
That's
And
awesome.
here's the beer that they have that I like, It's like, what about your brewery? Still probably the best brewery. I don't know. But everybody wants everybody to win because if you create that culture, you'll get people by the busload coming in,
Right.
And
then they'll start doing tours, the
Absolutely,
whole day,
yeah.
or they stay the whole weekend and 2 breweries a day and they check out everything.
Yep.
And then everybody starts advertising for each other and it just makes everybody money.
And that's why, we've had offers where people are basically just said they'll bankroll it. Like if we open it over here, like no, we want to be in Rochester,
Right.
Because if you go open it, in rural town of your choice, not to throw anybody under the bus, but like if people don't drink craft beer, if they won't try your beer,
Right.
if I show up with a case of beer and I'm like, here, try some free beer, I made it, and they say no, that's not the market for me.
Right, definitely.
So,
Just there we go. I don't know what that was. Maybe there's somebody walking. I just hear clicking.
Yeah, somebody was opening doors.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm good now.
So with the Prime Stem is the name, right?
Prime Stein.
Prime Stein. See,
Yeah.
fucking horrible names, bro. Prime
Well,
Stein, okay.
and I thought about it, because like Stein is like, like a coward or like Holstein or whatever. So
Oh,
people,
yeah.
people pronounce it, Stein. It's like, nah, dude, like it's Stein because Stein's like a glass,
It's the-
right?
the drinking,
Yeah. And so, and everybody, like, I don't know. I was just looking like at the formula, and everybody seems to do like an adjective and then a verb, right? So like the half barrel, or the crooked pine, or the tippy
Yeah,
cup,
right.
or what the hell ever, And so I was like, yeah, like I can, little thistle, I can follow, that. And so literally I came up with the name in like 5 minutes. I was just like, I don't know, like what sounds cool, and I was like it might be awful, but like when I go to, like, we went down to the craft beer conference down in Tennessee, and I had 100% of people say it right, and I'm like, okay, like I think we're gonna be okay.
Awesome. Yeah, so if
You know?
you're in the culture, then you'll be able to pronounce it pretty well.
Yeah, because if you know what a Stein is, you're like, oh yeah, Stein, like that makes sense. So
Okay. I'm not much of a drinker, so I don't know.
yeah, I know.
But I definitely will try some of your beer and figure out how it tastes. So maybe I'll have to get some samples and try it out.
I got a basement full of it.
There you go. There you go.
That's not an exaggeration.
That's awesome. So where can everybody find you personally and your company now that on like social media? You guys have your own website, Facebook, all that stuff.
Yeah, we have a website it's just okay right now. We got a lot of work to do on that, but Facebook is the best place to find us. Instagram, post on Twitter like once a month.
Once a month.
Gary V would frown on me for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right when I started reading this book, I was like, I gotta get Twitter. So I made it, but I still trying to figure out how to do it.
Well, it's a weird market to break into, because like I've had it for like 6 months and I have like 15 followers, and like and they say like the way to do it is like to sit and comment on other people's stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to dedicate a half hour a day to fluffing other people's product,
Right.
Like, oh wow, you're super cool for doing things, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's simple work, but I just don't dedicate the time to it.
Right, definitely.
But Instagram, we got a Snapchat, because people like to see like the videos and stuff. When we got like 35 gallons of beer bubbling, and it's like,
Yeah,
it's kind
hell
of
yeah, that's always cool. Like I said, I see those pictures on Instagram and stuff too all the time,
Yeah.
so that's awesome. So what are the handles for that? Like what is the tags so you can find them at?
Oh geez. The Snapchat is Primestein Brew. Facebook is facebook.com/Primestein Brewing, and the Instagram is somewhere on there too.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. And I have that handle too, so I can
Yeah.
share them a lot too when we
Yeah.
do them. So I'll make sure to tag you in all of it too. And
Absolutely,
all that stuff. So, is there anything else that you would like to kind of talk about or get out that you kind of have on your mind before we end this?
No, I mean, I'm planning on giving you a sponsorship here.
Yeah,
in the near future here
yeah,
too.
that's definitely something we're looking forward to.
Because it's just, like I said before, like, when I believe in something, I'll do whatever I can to support it, and we've talked about that a little bit, but I like your message here, and I like the, you're talking about the cystic fibrosis and
Yep.
and talking about the suicide prevention. Hey, like you're bringing value to your community, and the cool thing about a podcast is you can access that from anywhere.
Right.
It's so accessible. And I talk to other people that have podcasts. I've been on a few of them here and there. Like, oh, like I got a subscriber from Australia. I don't know why, but that's cool,
Yeah, it's exciting when we get down there and we're like, oh dude, we have 45 people following us on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. And then I always tell people like subscribe on YouTube, but then you have to have a YouTube account. So it's 45 people that I probably don't know that like us.
Right.
That are just from straight YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that I probably don't know a lot of those people, and we've been getting people now that we did the micro wrestling that just came out of the woodworks liking our stuff,
Mhm.
and anybody that's friends with them, they kind of like us, and so it's awesome that we've kind of been able to get our name out there a little bit, and that people are accepting our message, and I appreciate that so much. I know Jay does as well.
Yeah.
That you're going to be able to jump on board with us, and that you like the message that we're putting out there, and that we actually have a good cause, and we're trying to do a positive while kind of having fun while doing this,
Yeah, and that's a big thing, I mean, if you see your friends trying to hustle something, just support it.
Definitely.
It's so easy. And
a like, a share, comment, anything, man, it's easy.
Yeah, and I get stuff all the time, people like this page, it doesn't matter what they're doing. I'm like, cool, man, because I'd rather see something that my friends are doing than like an ad.
Right.
For whatever I recently Googled,
Definitely.
Like you Google football pads and you get like fucking 13 ads on Facebook, like, oh, like, no, dude, like, I'm cool on it. Like, I'd rather see my friends, oh, like, I'm, selling roses, or I'm selling vacuums or cars or whatever, or,
right.
I'd rather see people grow, and whatever they're trying to do, I try to support it.
Definitely, and I've been the same way too. And we have some friends who are doing podcasts and doing some other stuff too. We've been trying to support and share out as much as possible. And big thing I say is that the only way we're gonna do this is together.
Yeah.
We can't do it by ourselves. Like, I can't ostracize myself and be like, no, I'm gonna be way better than those guys. Or everybody's not gonna accept you into the community, and none of their fans are gonna accept you. But if they see us working together, everybody's gonna be like, oh, well, what is he doing? I want to check out his stuff. Instead of being like, no, I'm going to be the top dog and everybody's going to bow to me, but
yeah.
We're all going to be working together. We all got to work together to make this as successful. Or the ones that aren't going to do that are going to be the ones that are going to fail.
Yeah, and that's what I always say, man. Everybody can eat. Like you don't need the big piece of chicken. Everybody gets to eat.
Right. Now, there's enough for everybody. It's just, and the big thing too is, if you're starting your business and stuff, you gotta find your niche and find out where you fit in that. And you're probably not going to be at the top of the totem pole right away. But you're gonna climb, and you gotta figure out how to climb and what your steps are to make that climb.
Yeah, and I do anything I can, to just support the culture right now. Like, and we've given away, gift cards to other breweries, because I don't have my own stuff to give away, and I can't necessarily give away all this stuff. I don't have, a ton of money left right now. I got everything invested right now. Like I said, it's America, so if it fails, cool, bankruptcy, let's try again.
Right, yeah, we'll start over. But that's nowadays, it's the age of the entrepreneurs, that should be our motto is, we're going to give it all we got, and if it doesn't work, we'll try again, we'll start over, and dust ourselves off, and pick it up, and we'll see what's next. And
yeah, there's literally no limit to the times you can fail,
right.
So.
And I think a lot of times in society before, especially now, the last 10 years or so, everybody was so worried about failing, and not having a good job and what people are going to think about them. And so now everybody's like, screw that, dude. I want to be happy. I don't want to be that old guy that's in there's no regret and all the shit that he could have done or he should have done, but he worked 70 hours, a day or a week and didn't have anything that he looked forward to every day. He was just miserable his whole life because he didn't have a goal or a side project or something like we do that could have been something big.
Yeah, and the idea of failing is so revamped over the last, we'll say, 10 years, because now if you fail in front of everybody, right? Who gives a shit? Because people, oh, well, I'm taking this vacation, let me, whatever. Hey, cool, I'm happy for you. But, like, once that vacation's over, like, that's it, and then you go back to your thing, whatever your thing is, and not to talk shit about anybody, so I'll be very vague with that, but like, cool, you're just that again,
Right.
Like, I mean, like, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build something that's going to make my whole life easier, not my weekend easier.
Exactly.
And if I fail, cool. And if you don't support me, fine. But, like, everybody's out here living their best life, trying to be Instagram famous. Cool for you, man. But, like, your life is never going to be easier. You are going to work till you're 90. So, like, fail. I mean, I think the average number of times people fail before they succeed is like 7. And by that count, I got a couple more to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm still a few behind, so start opening more so I can fail more so I can get to that success a little faster. Why not jump on board and start failing now and just get that shit out of the way.
I'm trying to sneak in a couple failures before I try to open here.
Exactly. Yeah. I definitely understand that.
And that's where the anxiety and the depression and everything else comes in because people get so jealous of other people's stuff.
Right.
It's like what's the point, man? Just figure out what makes you happy and do it.
Yeah, and that's something that when I first really started getting an entrepreneur, and I have a buddy who owns a gym up in the cities, the Minnesota Top Team, and what he told me was that he found the most success after he stopped comparing himself to other gyms, and that he was always comparing like, oh, but this gym has this program, maybe we should try this program, and then it failed, and he'd be like, God, but I'm just not as good as that gym, maybe this isn't for me. Then he figured out like, screw that, I'm gonna do my own shit, I'm gonna do what I'm interested in, I'm gonna get guys in here that like what we're in and we're in the same network instead of just trying to pick out from other people's stuff. And he said the second he did that, decided to do his own programs, his own shit, it skyrocketed for him. And it was like he was just getting depressed and worried and watching other people, and then he would be checking other people's Facebooks and like how much likes and shit and comments they were getting. Like he wasn't getting any, so he's like, oh my god, what do I do? And then once he figured out like, screw that, it's not about what they're doing, it's about what I'm doing, and I gotta push myself and not worry about them. Everything came together for him.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that too that kind of helped me kind of get over the fact of being worried about this. It's like, whatever, we're gonna try it, we're gonna go out there and do our best, and if it doesn't work out, we'll figure out something new.
Yeah.
And you can always start a new podcast, right? We can always start a different type of podcast or whatever. You know, if this one doesn't work out, we'll try something. But my big thing is as long as I have fun doing it and I put out a good positive message while doing it. That's my big thing is I didn't want to be selfish when I started this. It's just, hey, everybody come talk to me. I wanted to have that good message, and getting cystic fibrosis is something that's really close to me. Suicide and again, addiction awareness and stuff like that is stuff that touched me close to home. So it's stuff that I felt like it was a kind of obligation if I got the opportunity to be able to come out here and meet all these people and again, get great stories from people, but also give a good positive message and get the light out on these things that are, you know, affecting me and other people around the world. And, you know, suicide and addiction is something that affects way more people than, you know, just myself and the close net that I have around me. It's everybody in the world is affected by that.
And I listened to, if it wasn't your first show, it was one of the first shows. And you said, you know, if it affects one person, it's worth it.
Exactly.
And that's exactly it. And I'm such an advocate for it. And if you follow me on the Facebook, I mean, you know, I don't do it just, you know, just to hit a quota, you know, but like when I see somebody, you know, struggling, I'll just say, hey, you know, like I'm available to anyone. You
Definitely,
know, share this post if I don't know you. Maybe someone you know needs just a stranger to vent to. Cool, man. Like, I got time.
Exactly. Yep. And I put that on all of our, you know, when we were doing the depression ones and stuff, and we'll get back to that again because when we first started this, you know, we were doing the depression stuff, and then we actually made an episode because Brody Stevens actually ended up committing suicide. He was a stand-up comedian, and it was somebody that was so prevalent in the stand-up community in California that it was just like, it kind of seemed like out of sorts that this guy would kill himself, you know, and it was one of those things that I kind of found the opportunity to be able to kind of spread that light of, you know, it's on all walks of life. And I'm such a little person, but again, if I can help one person, whether it's my family, your sister, your cousin, your brother's cousins, like mom, whatever it is, as long as that one person sees this,
or a
and
complete
feels better about
stranger,
it, you know, anybody. And again, I don't have to know them. I don't want to know them. I don't want to know that it helped them. But I just hope that at the end of the day, it does help at least one person. And while I'm, you know, still pushing this positive message out that we're not alone. You know, we all go through bad times. We all have ups and downs. We all fail. But it's how you pick yourself up and keep moving forward is what really matters.
Yeah, I was joking around with somebody the other day, and I said, you know, if somebody made an autobiography about me, it'd probably be titled "The Rise and Fall and Rise and Fall and Rise and Fall," and like, you know, probably like a whole you know, front page worth of Steve, you know, because like, because you know, shit just it's like nothing's ever gonna be perfect, you know, but it's just, you know, it's how you react to stuff.
Definitely.
So
yeah, it's definitely the way that you live your life. Either you can look at everything negatively or you can look at everything positively. And I know there's a lot of people, you know, that look at it like, oh, why me? But not like, oh, all right, that's another challenge I'm just gonna get over, figure it out, and I'm gonna move on and get better from this. You know, instead of just being like, oh, it's me again. This sucks. You know, and there's so many people that are down on themselves, and let them get to that where if they just sucked it up a little bit, you know, and they're like, all right, let's just figure it out. This sucks now, but we're gonna get through it, and it's gonna get better because it's been better before. It's been worse before when it got better. So why not? Why doesn't it get better again?
right.
You know, so it's like suck it up and just go through it, and it's part of the life. And unfortunately, we are not always gonna have the perfect times and the best, you know, whatever it's relationship, job, goals aren't always gonna go the way we want it to. But at the end of the day, you just gotta keep going forward and know that you only get this one life. You know, and if you're not gonna do everything you can with this, like, what are you gonna do with it? Like, why waste this opportunity that we're so lucky to have?
Right, and I've seen, people have that opportunity taken away, and it's so tough to bury young people, and I've had my fair share of it for sure, and that's why, I'm always motivated, that's why a lot of times, like, I only sleep 4 hours a day, because I'm like, I have to, I feel like I'm living for these people that got that opportunity taken away,
Right.
and I feel like I gotta do something every day, and like once a month, like I do just like, turn my phone off and just like Netflix, just because I'm like I need to reset,
Yep. Everybody needs that.
But I feel obligated, to kick ass for the people that were cut short, and that that's why I do the scholarship, like, hey, like, this counts, bro, like, this is you motivating me to help other people, so like you get credit for this,
And it's good to see too that we can give back and help a little bit, because in my case especially, I've had so much help, and so many people have supported me and gave me help when I was down or at my lowest, and even starting this, I've had so much support and backing that it's just kind of crazy that I finally get the opportunity to give back now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I didn't really realize that, like, I was at a point in my life that I can finally give back. But now that I am, I'm just gonna try to run. I'm gonna try to pull the whole Forrest Gump thing, and I just like running. I'm just running. Just going, and we're gonna keep going and going. I'm gonna go both ends and back, and if I can, I'm gonna go back again. And I'm all gung ho about this, and knowing that I can give back to people, and finally I can give people their voice. And I feel like some people that come on here too, they haven't really been able to tell their stories or get it out, and then when they do get it out, it kind of brings a positive light to themselves, and they feel a little better about themselves or about the way that their situations were handled or they went through. And we've had cancer, we've had some diabetes stuff, we've had a lot of stuff on this podcast already, and I just feel really blessed to be able to hear these stories and talk to these people, and hopefully hearing the struggles other people go through, and not only just myself. Again, helps one person, 2 people, 10 people, and if it helps 1,000 people or 2,000 people, then that's amazing. I'm doing way more than I ever thought I would, but at the end of the day, I want to help everybody that I can.
Hell yeah.
And just keep pushing. And again, I appreciate you coming on, and we'll share all your stuff. Check out the Freeze. What is the actual name of the Freeze? Is it Rochester Freeze?
Med City Freeze.
Med City Freeze.
Yep.
Okay, so it's Med City Freeze. They're on Facebook. They have Instagram. They have all that shit, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Prime
Stein.
Prime Stein. See,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to start drinking so I can run this. And I'll share it all out on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, and Twitter. We'll get the Twitter out since you guys have Twitter as well.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of people on here that have Twitter, so I was like, do you have a Twitter? Like, no. Okay, then I don't know if we'll share it on Twitter. Cause I don't know if anybody's gonna see it, but we'll share it all on Twitter as well. And again, I appreciate you coming out and telling your story, and the stuff you're doing for the scholarship and for the Freeze, and helping us out is amazing. I appreciate everything you've done for us, and we're gonna kick ass, get you back in shape, and you'll be on that D-line killing it before you know it.
Yeah, or cage fighting or hockey or whatever.
Hey,
whatever.
If you want a cage fight, I actually know a
We
guy.
can get you in there.
We know some guys. So.
Y'all know some guys.
Yeah, we know some people. So that's your goal too. We can figure that out. And, it's pretty easy to.
No, my goal is to find competition. Yep. That's it.
We're gonna start getting him in jiu-jitsu. That's what
I was gonna say, we've got some jiu-jitsu tournaments coming up we can get you in.
We got some jiu-jitsu going, and he wrestled, so I mean,
that's half the battle.
You already got that. You already know how to take a guy down. So
give me a fancy robe. Let's fuck shit up.
Do it. That's what's up. We're doing this. All right. Thank you again, Steve. I appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys, and make sure you guys check out our sponsor, Justin Coball at Precision Detailing. You can find him on Justin Coball, or you can find him on Facebook at Justin Coball, Instagram with Justin Coball, or his company on Facebook is Precision Detailing LLC. And so go ahead and check them out, and thank you guys for tuning into another episode.